before we get started, I'm gonna tell you how I go with me. This is just a chill type of interview. It's a conversation. I drink, I cuss, and we're gonna have a good time.
Gotcha.
All right. So introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, what genre you write in, anything you want them to know before we get started.
My name is Jahquel J. I write urban fiction, urban romance, a little contemporary romance, and um, something I want you to know. I don't like dolphins.
You don't like dolphins?
I don't.
That is where she get it from. That's where she get it from. Because I was confused on that. I was like, why is she so against the dolphins? What did they do?
Me and dolphins, we don't get along.
So let me ask you this. What was the moment that sparked you into your love for books as a whole, even before you started writing? What was the book that really catapulted you into wanting to be more than just a reader?
I'm gonna go with, and it's probably gonna sound super cliche, but Fly Girl.
Mm.
My mom's a reader, and she used to leave her books in the bathroom because that's where she used to read at. So every time I used the bathroom, I'd be in there reading her books, knowing I had no business reading them, but I was reading them. And after that, I go to the library and I'd be taking out urban fiction books that she ain't know about, just running through them. So it took me a while before I was like, I want to do this for a living, but I felt like I always wanted to write a book like Fly Girl or The Coldest Winter Ever, like the classic.
Yeah. So, what inspired you to just dive into urban fiction? What was the moment that you said, I don't want to be just contemporary. I don't want to just be labeled as just another author. I want to go into urban fiction. And how did you get there?
Mostly because that's all I was reading. That's all I read. Like I've read
Mhm.
other like romance and stuff like that, but urban fiction is my first love.
Mm.
True and true, and it's because I can relate to it a lot because I grew up in the hood. So that as soon as I open an urban fiction book, it's just like energy. But I had got into a situation with my friend and I ended up just writing this book and I wasn't even going to publish it. My sister was the one like, you should finish this. Like, this is really, really good. Like, finish it. So that was what really sparked me into like really getting into it because I'm like, oh, finish it. You ain't said nothing about a word. I'm about to finish this book.
Okay, so what messages or themes do you like to explore in your stories? Now I know it's black love, but what other themes are you trying to explore in your story and give to your readers?
I like to add a little bit of everything. I know a few of my readers will be like, a child hate to see Jahquel coming because she gonna do something to the child, and I don't intentionally be doing it, but I like to add certain things like autism or a
Yeah.
disability or something like that because sometimes even though it's fiction, I don't want it to always be so perfect. I want somebody to be able to relate to it.
Somebody
So
said,
I'm
and a
definitely,
cliffhanger.
oh, for sure, cliffhanger.
So, how do you create these vivid and authentic characters? Because they're so realistic, even though they're fiction, they're so realistic. How do you create these characters? And what's the process for you to really dive into their personalities?
I will sit with my notebook and I'll just write a bunch of like any Kirks or what, I can't ever say that word, but you
Quirky. I got you.
um I'll sit and I'll just write any kind of things down and like I'll kind of imagine the person that I'm writing about because I don't want it to be just black and white. I don't want them to be just this character. I want them to have certain little things that they do that oh, that's Capone or that's
Mhm.
Capadonna or that's Capri, like things that they do that sets them apart from each other because you're gonna have all these characters in one book. What is gonna set them apart? Like with Capone, I was like, I knew I wanted to touch on sickle cell with him because it
Mhm.
is something that is so big in our community.
Yeah.
So I for sure wanted to touch on that with him, and I didn't want him to be the typical main character that, yeah, he's strong and he handles business and
Mm-hmm.
he gets the girl. He also struggles too. He has a weakness too.
Mm-hmm. So how do you because your books often have like tough topics, like you talked about disabilities and the different things that's happening in the Black community. How do you approach writing about these topics with keeping the stories um engaging?
I try to touch on it just enough to give information, but not so much where the reader's like, all right, girl, we get it. Like, is this a book or is this a medical journal? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I also don't want to touch on, I'm always careful on what I touch on because I don't want to offend anybody when I'm writing
Mm-hmm.
about something. So I make sure I do my research heavily before I
Mm-hmm.
even touch on the topic.
So how do you balance realism and entertainment in regards to writing urban fiction?
I don't know. I just go at it. Like I'll just start writing. But I always know if I'm gonna touch on something real, you want to have the funny with that too, because
Mm-hmm.
people read as an escape. So you don't want them to go into a book like, well, damn, now I'm even more depressed than I was depressed picking the book up. I'm more depressed now. And don't get me wrong, some of my books do have you like that,
Yeah.
but I try to add a level of some humor in there, some real life stuff where you could be like, my family member would have did that or something like that. Bring
Yeah.
out the bad.
So, what book in particular, and I'm just not talking about the Delgados because you have a big catalog.
I do.
And so, what book holds a special place in your heart and why? And why should we read it? And don't say the Delgados. That's a
No,
gift.
it's not the Delgados. Um, Although part of that series, one of the books, it didn't come out yet, has a piece of my heart. But I'm gonna go with, I can't pick one, but I'm gonna go with a series. It's gonna
Okay.
be the Lenox Hill series. Is I'm Fine Thanks, Never Better Things, and yeah, Thanks.
Mm.
So it's a book about two sisters and a best friend, and they all each separately go through things. Like the first one, she's going through a divorce to a shitty husband. Second one, she's this it girl, this influencer. Everybody wants to be her, but she's struggling with an eating disorder for
Hmm.
years. And then the third one, she's a doctor. She's grieving the loss of her mom, and she just wants to become a mom, but it's never happened for her. So, and they meet three brothers who happen to be billionaires. Of course, you got to add that in there, but and they each love these women differently. So I would have to go with aside outside of Delgado, my Lenox Hill series.
Okay. So, what is a typical writing day for you?
I get up around 5:30 in the morning. I get up, get myself together, then I come down my whole way to my office. I check my emails, and then I jump in. It depends if I don't wake up before then, because for some reason my body will wake me up at 4:30 lately.
Mm.
But and I'll spend time in my notes just writing down what I want to get out today. Like what are the chapters that I'm going to work on today.
So, how do you overcome writer's block or self doubt in knowing that you love this series or you love this story, but you're just like hesitant? How do you overcome those doubts when you want to come out with books that you know is fire, but you just doubt it?
I will sit in it for a while, and my husband would be like, "You know you pressure. You know you can do this. Like why are you second guessing yourself? Why like he literally will talk me off the ledge because I'll be like, I'm not gonna put this out. I'm gonna start it over. I'm gonna delete it. And he'd be like, put it out, do it.
So, do you outline your stories in advance, or do you organically just go in?
I will outline, but I never stick to my outline. I will start off. I'll develop my characters and everything that I want for them, and then I will start with the outline, and from there I'll start. But when I'm like midway through, I'll be like, "Now, girl, you did not even stick to this outline. Like this wasn't even supposed to happen."
Do you think that the urban fiction genre has came a long way, and why?
Yes, it has. I think it's come a long way because you have so much. other than just urban fiction, like you have urban dark romance, you got
Mm,
urban thrillers, you got like, and back then, at least for me, it was just urban fiction. That was it. So you
yeah,
have so many different genres that's being tied to the urban, um, that it's come a long way.
it has. It has. Do you think what's the most challenging part about writing urban fiction, and how do you tackle those stereotypes?
I want to say the hardest part is when people tack on that just because it's urban fiction that it's ghetto and it's about the
Mhm.
hood and that those stereotypes about it. But how I tackle it, I don't really tackle it. Like, I mean, I will tell somebody like I write urban fiction, I write urban romance. I'm proud of the genre that I write, so I don't shy away from telling people what I write.
You had amazing 2024. You had amazing 2024. The Delgado series, I saw it everywhere. I think I was probably like one of the last ones in 2024 to get on and read it because I was reading everything else, and then everybody was just like, read it. And I was literally going to school in the hallway between classes like this. Don't talk to me. Don't say nothing. Don't even look like you want to get my attention. I was literally with my Kindle in the hallways between classes reading. I finished that series. I started on Sunday, finished it on Thursday. I was done.
Wow.
I didn't stop reading because it's so addictive. Now, let's start with Capone. How did you come into the world of Capone? How did you make this character the way you made him and give him comic relief at the same time and get a woman to match up to his crazy?
I knew when I started and outlined him that I wanted him to be that guy. Like, I wanted him to be that nigga, that one that you be like,
Yeah.
but I also didn't want him, I wanted him to have struggles too.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was developing him, that's when I gave him the sickle cell.
Yeah.
And I also wanted him to have to carry his family. He has a twin, but his twin's not there. He's in prison. He has a sister he's trying to keep on top of. So it's like he's juggling all this. Like, he is the breadwinner of the family. He's elevating the family, but he's also trying to be a dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to figure out his situation with his baby mama. He lost a child.
Mm-hmm.
He's, trying to be a big brother, but he also wants love too. So when I brought Erin in, I wanted her to be this hyper independent woman who
Mm-hmm.
she's had her aunt to, help her out and stuff like that, but she's used to doing everything on her own, taking on everything, the same as him. But I wanted him to kind of break her down and show her like, I got you. I can take care of you. I could do that. But I also wanted to give her something too. I didn't want to make her sick or anything. So I was like, alopecia.
Yeah. That right there was the funniest shit with me. The way he would treat other females like get out his motherfucking face. He got his
Right.
woman. So how important was it to showcase black love in a way that it's not stereotypical, but it's real?
Oh, so it was so important because I didn't want it to be a situation where I've written books where the main guy, he's that guy, but he just cannot leave whatever side piece or whatever
Mhm.
ex or whoever out the equation. So the new main female is always fighting for her spot. I knew when I wrote Cap and when I wrote Capone, I didn't want that to be the situation. Even though with
Yeah.
Cap, he had his baby mother, but I knew I didn't want that to be the situation with them. I wanted they're gonna go after these women because I've written books where the guy he has gone after the woman, he
Hmm.
done groveled, begged for her, and then he get her, then he done cheated on her, and it's like, why did you go after her? So
Facts.
I knew with this series I wanted to do different and I wanted to challenge myself without him going back to Ella and, you know, making it a mess between them. I wanted him to always choose Erin. Like he said, this is my wife, this is my wife. And
Because Ella and Tasha, let me tell you something. Let me take out my glasses when I say this. Ella and Tasha, there ain't been too many bitches in the book that I wanted to bop upside their motherfucking head. But those two hoes, especially Tasha.
Tasha was.
The way she can get this 1-2 piece combo real quick, in the words of my baby daddy, fuck you mean. Mhm.
Tasha was she was a mess.
That shit was, and then you have Kappa. You have Kappa fucking Donna. That man was the truth. How did
Yeah.
you make him so take charge about his business, but also have that sensitive side to his personality that he really catered to the women and the family in
Right.
his life?
I knew when I was writing because at first Capadonna wasn't even gonna get a book, but he wasn't gonna get a book. Capri wasn't gonna get a book either, but everybody kept saying like his presence was so strong, even from him being in prison. Like,
Yes.
they was like he needs a book. So when I started developing his character, I made him the typical big brother, like the one who
Hmm.
takes on everything, but he couldn't because he was in prison for so long.
Yeah, yeah,
So he's absolutely insane. But when it comes to his family, like he does not play. And I've gotten that from I took pieces from my own husband because that's how my husband is.
hmm,
So it's like when I developed him, I wanted him to be that. I wanted him to be real. And I also wanted to touch on like men when they come home from prison. I didn't want it to be he spent 15 years in jail, so it's unrealistic for him to come home without any kind of trauma from
yeah,
being behind the wall. So that's why I gave it where, he slept in a closet because he wasn't comfortable being in the big room because he was in prison for 15 years in a small room.
yeah,
So that it was very important to make that a part of Capadonna's journey because he's this tall man, this big man that will beat
yeah.
your ass in Crocs, but he also has another side to him.
Or he's whooping you on the street.
Yeah, yeah. He's doing what your father should have did.
He's beating that ass. Because with Capadonna plays such, it's like Capone laid the foundation, but Capadonna really just set it off in the way of how strong family ties really mean in the black
Right.
community. And I just love that. And the love of a brother to a sister, the way he loved Capri, but also gave her room to make her own mistakes, is an amazing thing for her. Now, Capri, now I know some of y'all heifers was like, she a homie hopper. Y'all don't even know
So
what
many
homie
of
hopper
them.
is. Brandy
They
was the
didn't give
homie
her
hopper.
they didn't give her no grace. Like they was just like she's a homie, and I've always when I wrote it, she was never gonna be with Naheem. Like they were never gonna last.
Yeah.
But after a while, I was kind of second guessing it. Like should they? The way it was just so strong, everybody was like, "No, she need to be." I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm gonna stick to what I had, my plans to keep her away from him." And I also wrote books in the past where the person who cheated went back. So I
Yeah.
wanted her to stand on that. Like he came at her a crazy way. And it wasn't only, what we seen in Capone and Capadonna's story, which is why I wrote it that way, is
Hmm.
we only seen one piece of it. We only seen, oh, he
Yeah.
cheated, but he was also jealous. He was also disrespectful. He was all these other things where she didn't deserve that.
And she did not. That's why I was like, because sometimes I go into the group and then I back the fuck out because some of y'all pharaoh than a bitch. You know what I'm saying? So I go in slowly and tiptoe my ass right back the fuck out. But some of them were saying that Capri was a homie hopper, and I'm just like, did y'all not see Brandy?
Right.
Like Brandy slept with everybody.
Every
Tasha,
it at this point it was like, who didn't you sleep with, Brandy?
right? Like, and it just drove me fucking insane every time I saw. I wanted to say something, but y'all wasn't about to jump down my throat because I'll come to your house and beat your ass. Stop playing with me. but but no. So what sets urban fiction apart? Because you wrote this series, you made it so compelling and so engaging and so just a lovable series. Like you just can't get enough. We're on pins and needles waiting for the next book. So what about urban fiction sets it apart from other genres?
Being that I've read other genres, you just don't get that real shit in other books. Like you're not gonna get you'll read a book out. Like I've read romance books, and they get to having sex, and it's so cute, and so sometimes you just need somebody to go there in a book. And with urban fiction, you get that. You'll get, nigga, you crazy, you can't get that in other books. You get the allure of the hood and the drug dealing, and not, even though every urban fiction book doesn't have drug dealing, but I mean, the ones I read, I that's what I like. That's what I want. That's what I want to read.
Mm. Now in Capri, it was it. I don't get emotional too much with books, but now I can't. That's why your promo for me was Woman's Work, because that song in that scene in the book, I said, I'm gonna turn
Yeah.
it on before I read it, like she said, and I saw it so vividly in my head.
That's how I see every scene that I write, from the shootout scenes to like the
Yeah.
romantic scenes. Like I will sit, like I put my music on, and everybody in my house know if I'm sitting and I'm just sitting like this, like I sit and I'm picturing it in my head,
Yeah.
and they know when I'm like that, like leave her alone, let her cook, like don't bother her, because I'm seeing it in my head so vividly. And I always see my books, but for some reason with this series, just from shootout scenes or just
Yeah.
talking or anything, it's like I'm envisioning it as I'm writing. So when people tell me like I seen it as I was reading, I'm like, well, I nailed it. Then we on the same level. We eye to eye. But yeah, that scene with Capri, I was in here crying like a fool, and my family already look. They be like, she on that stuff again. Like she done messed up something, and now her reader's gonna ask her to come outside. And but yeah, that scene was super emotional, and I took some parts from witnessing my own sister being born and added
Mm.
that into that. And after I read it, I was like, wow.
It was a good scene. I noticed everybody's talking about the shootout scenes. I was getting to a shit. Damn, let me get to it. This is my shit. Stay in the damn comments. Anyway, no. The shootout scenes. My God, from Capone all the way to Capri, I would never look at a motherfucking highway the same goddamn way. Okay, shit. I would never. I have never in all my days. This shit was biker boys meet fucking Too Fast, Too Furious meets fucking Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It was all of them threw into one. How the fuck did you come up and the shit just come together? It just came together like that.
It it really came together in three,
Mm-hmm.
because I think I dreamed it, and then I wrote it. I woke up out of my sleep and I wrote it in my notes so I can get up in the morning and write it. And then as soon as my alarm went off, I was up. I didn't even go brush my teeth, wash my face, nothing. I was up down the hallway, and I had put my headphones on. I put a song on, and I just started writing. Like I didn't know what I was writing until I read everything back. But I just was like, in my head, I'm like, we shooting, we out here, we thugs today.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, because I don't think I've ever written like a shootout scene. So I didn't know how everybody was gonna feel about it, and I was nervous about it. But I was like, I'm gonna just keep it in here because it just shows. It, for me, it was showing how Capri, she can get down with her brothers, and how she can, and how Capone has trained her to know how to protect her family, and how everyone was gonna come into being that the same thing.
Yeah.
So when I read it back, and then when it released, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, that shootout scene was so crazy," I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, so
It
we like,
was.
well, shit. All right, let me add some more.
That shit was wild. Now let's talk about the Infernos. My God. My God today.
Those
Jesus.
infernos.
Now, how did you come up with the Infernal gods and goddesses?
So I've always wanted to write about a biker gang, and when I was writing Capadonna's book, I wanted something different because I already knew with Capone being everybody loving Capone, that coming into Capadonna, that they would kind of, mix them together. They'll be like, treat them as like they're the same. And I really wanted them, they're twins, but they're two different people. Like his story is his and his is his. So when I developed his story, I had came up with Inferno Gods. And I was like, I'm going to put them in, I'm going to write about them, but to introduce people to them and see if they how they receive them, I'm going to add them into Capadonna and into his story. And once I added him, everybody, I think once I added Qasim, he didn't even have any words. Like he didn't even say anything. Everybody's like, I want to know who he is. Like I want to know who Qasim is. And Kwame kind of got mixed reviews, but that was because everybody was on the she needs to get back with Naheem train, and she's a homie hopper. She can't be with him, even though they had a history before she even knew Naheem around the same time. But once I introduced them, I was like, okay, so all right, I'm gonna do my biker thing.
Now, I know there's a lot of y'all that like Papa Inferno. I do too. So, bitch, we fighting. Um, but no, how did you make it? Um, with Mir, the love he had for Capri was transcendent. Was fucking transcendent. From friendship, even with their past, but just from friendship to helping her heal. How important was it to show a black man can be other than, a disruption in your life, but actually help you through the hardest times of your life?
So important because I didn't want him. I wanted him to help her through her hard times. Because let's not get it twisted. Kwame is an absolute menace. Like he's a lunatic, but he has that side of him where she just brings that side, and it's not only her because he had that side for Brandy, but she messed it up. She fumbled that, and all he really wanted was to be loved how he loves, and he loves hard. But it was very important for me to show him loving Capri because she went through some stuff. Like my girl, she was struggling.
She was.
And he was struggling on the front of her relationship with her mom. Then she kept going back to Naeem. Then she had the whole Kincaid and Jasmine mess. My girl was, stuck. And the only person, not even her brothers, not her mom, not even anybody else that saw that she was really struggling was Mir. He was the only one that saw it.
Yeah.
So when I was writing this story, I didn't want him to be with her right away. I wanted him to give her space to find out who she was and for her to tap into that. Because as much as I talk about the Delgado men having that walk or that aura, she's a Delgado and she got that same thing. She just didn't realize it. And she went away, she came back, and she was like, I'm back. I'm Big Mama.
Big Mama. No. So how did you now send me? Oh my God. I know we only got just like a dot of his story, but the pain that he suffers with every day. And then also you telling us about the loss that he's had to endure. And then having someone come into his life that is enduring her own pain. And it's like, is it trauma meeting trauma and falling in love, or is it uh true feelings, true emotions with those two?
It's true emotions and true feelings. It's trauma too. But and as I'm reading over his book, and I was just today, I was in here this morning and I was just like, I was sitting like this, and my husband's like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, this scene!" And I'm listening to this playlist with this song because I added a recommendation like what song to listen to, and my chest is just tight, and I'm just like, this is fiction, but like, why do I feel like this? And like, I've legit felt like somebody stabbed my dog or something. Like I felt sad, and I'm just like, ugh, they're gonna tell me to step outside. And I mean, Quad Sim's book is It's a tearjerker for sure. It's
Mm,
emotional, and I kind of wanted to build that up to that because you don't know much about Sim other than he's always there. He gonna ride. Cat
mm,
Cole, he coming. So you know he lost his girlfriend. You know he lost his daughter, but you don't
right.
really know his feelings. And I purposely didn't give him a point of view in any of the books
Mm,
because I wanted his point of view to be in his book. I wanted him to tell his own story. And then you have Blair. Blair, she's a favorite because
mm,
despite all of the trauma and then going through cancer, like she's still this light for the people that she loves. So
yeah,
she's still this light in his life. And but she's also like, I'm not gonna wait for you forever. Like you keep
yeah.
running from me. Like I want to be, happy.
And I also want to say, being realistic about depression and grief.
Right.
You really put you really put it in there because people don't understand there are maybe stages of grief, but a lot of times they don't want black men to show their grief. And you really put it out there that it is important that you understand that this strong black man got broke down because he knew how to love.
Hmm.
Why was that important?
Because I feel like, especially for our black men, and especially when you sometimes, I know growing up with my brother and my mom's a single mom, that when my brother would cry, she'd be like, stop crying, that's for girls, like you
Mm,
don't cry. And I've seen it so many times within my family or just in general in the black community, and I feel like that's why so many black men are so shut off from showing their emotions and being
mm,
real and being vulnerable. And then you have women too that will be like, "Oh, he's soft. Oh, he like," because they cry, because a man cries or he shows that he has feelings, he can feel.
mhm,
So when writing this, I wanted each from Cap to Capone to Choir Sim to Kwame, I wanted them all to be there, these big presents, and they
mhm.
will blow up a block behind their woman, but at the
Yeah.
same time they're not scared to shed that armor and be vulnerable to their woman. Like when
Yeah.
Cap told Aliyah that he comes in the closet, like he was vulnerable with her because that's his woman, he trusted her, and
Mhm.
she didn't look any way different. She didn't He's still her man, he's still the strong, her savior. So I wanted to showcase that within this series for sure.
Now, with Cap, I'm gonna be going in between, back and forth books with characters, but with Cap and Elia, you brought in the Muslim community, and you brought in some of the things that are negative about the Muslim community, and some of the positive about the Muslim community, especially within the Black diaspora. So, how important was it to showcase that these are stereotypes and this is real?
Oh, it was so important because when I was doing my research, I was like, I didn't want. First of all, I was scared because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want anybody to take anything that I wrote out of context. I was like researching like crazy, and I wanted to make sure that just like with any kind of thing, you have those negative stereotypes about anything. I wanted to touch on those, but I also wanted when Kat came in to show her, like, yeah, this is our religion, this is our situation, but that what he was doing wasn't right. That's not how you live. That's not you're supposed
Yeah.
to follow this, that, and the third. So I wanted to definitely showcase the positive when it comes to being Muslim, because a lot of times some people will see like women covering their hair and they'll automatically think, oh, the man is making her do that, and that's not
Mhm.
true. So I definitely wanted to, and a lot of my Muslim girlies definitely reached out and was like, you did an amazing job, you did good. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. My sister, she's Muslim, like to her heart Muslim.
Mm.
And so she read that, and yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I appreciate that. Now let's talk about Baby Cap Chubbs. I want to smack this nigga so fucking bad. I know a lot of people tell me I need to learn how to give people redemption arcs, but it's hard. God damn it, it's hard. Now, Chubbs came in at a time where Cap was trying to, get the family together, make sure the business was going right. plus get his revenge on anybody that was fucking with his family. And so Chubbs came in at a time to try to, I don't know, be just like his daddy, but at the same time, he mentally wasn't there to be on that level because of his mammy, stupid ass, and his family that was around him and friends. So, well, I can loosely friends. How was it writing about a black man? Because there are so many, and I'm not saying every black woman does this, but there are a lot of black women and women in general. I'm not even gonna say black women. Women in general who will keep their child away from their father just to hold it over their heads. How important was that to write that in the story?
It was very important because I wanted it to be something where, and then the thing was, it wasn't really even Kendra holding it over his head. She was just selfish as hell.
She really
like
was.
she just didn't give a fuck about Cap or Capella and none of that. Like she was on some, like she didn't want to. She knew he would set her down. Like you need to be a mom, and that's not what she wanted to do. So it was important for me to add that because there are some deadbeat moms. Like a lot of times we read books and it's the deadbeat dad, but there's some deadbeat moms out there. So I wanted to definitely touch on Kendra being a deadbeat mom and her being who she is kind of shaped Capella to who he is.
That part. Now, Capella and Amy. I mean, not Capella, but Cap, baby, Chuck. You know what I mean. Him and Amy. Now that situation. At first, I ain't gonna lie. I thought Amy was dissy than a bitch. Like,
and she was.
Yeah. But at the same time, Cap kind of was molding both of them to be better. The women in her life that were in that family were helping uplift her when her own family was holding her down. How important was it to showcase that sometimes your family that is blood is not always the family that's going to hold you down?
So important because, man, if that is not a lesson I've learned my own self, like you will have family that is your blood, and then you have people that you meet that be strong. It'd be stronger than your own family. So I definitely wanted that to be the situation when it came to Amy, and her family really wasn't shit. They were terrible.
Yeah.
And even though they were terrible, in her head, that was still her family.
Yeah.
So that was how she acted with them, and it was kind of like people got pissed off because it was like she still was choosing her family, and it was like, girl, you got Cap over here telling you like you like a daughter to him, you got everybody, you got the Delgados, and you still. But when you're in that mentality, you're not thinking that way. You don't be thinking like these are your family, especially when, even though the Delgados were there for her, they would call her ditzy and all these, act like she was like slow sometimes. So all of that added had her kind of like, I'm not gonna tell them everything.
Yeah. So you also had the fact that Chubbs was literally struggling with his own self, struggling with Amy leveling up, struggling with her independence, struggling with doing some things that some men will do, try to trap a woman and hold her down with a baby, say it's out of love. Struggling trying to be like his father and not even knowing his own identity. How important was you to showcase this black man in the struggles and in the thick of all the things that was going on in his life and his dependencies on outside entities that have nothing to do with the love that he already have at home?
Capella was, when I wrote him, I didn't, because he was so young, and I didn't want him to come, because to me it would be unrealistic him coming into this family and already having that aura, that big stepper about him, because he's so young. He's still learning his dad, he's still learning his family and learning himself, and then he experienced so much loss. He lost his aunt, he lost his mom. So and then he also has this thing where he feels like he has to be like his father. Like he was like, I'm gonna be Muslim, I'm thinking about being Muslim because that's what his father was. And like Chubbs was going through identity crisis.
Yes. Big
And
time.
you had, and then Amy was too, because you have these big steppers in your family. He got his uncle, he got his aunt, he got his father, and then Amy's witnessing she Capri and Erin and Elia. So they're both, instead of working on themselves, they're both comparing and trying to make something work between each other, when and looking into these other marriages. And that's how it was like the demise of their relationship, because they was trying to be something that they wasn't. He was trying to be his dad, she
Yeah.
was trying to, measure up to being like Erin and Elia and Capri,
Mhm.
and it was just a
Yeah.
disaster.
So let's talk about Core.
Mr. Corleone.
Yo, I ain't never seen a sexier motherfucker that said I just want two. Okay, two. He's so smooth with it.
So smooth, so
So
smooth.
smooth with it. And how is it where you wrote his story so compelling, because that happens really in real life, where you're in a situation that you have to choose between a child and the ones that you have, and you have to give them up. How
Right.
important was that to showcase, because that happens a lot in the black community?
That was important because it does happen so much. I know somebody that happened to. So when I wrote that, I wanted it to be, because you have Gene, you have Dez, and on the outside, from Capone's book, we got to witness them, and you think like, oh, he's blessed. He got two parents, they're perfect. Then in Cap's book, you kind of see it like unraveling with Jean a little bit. Like, why is she so hard on Capri? Like, why is she like that with her? Then Capri's book, you really see like, oh, his parents, they're not perfect. I mean, they love each other, they love their kids, but they really went through some stuff. They really hid some secrets, and in their generation, stuff like that, they would have took that to the grave. They would have never told them if
Yeah.
Corleone had come looking for them. So it was important definitely to touch on that, because especially in the black community, we like grandmas and aunts, when stuff go down, they will not tell you unless you find out. It goes to the grave. Like, you don't find stuff until the person in the ground.
So then you also have the fact that this man said, I love who I love, and I don't want just one wife. I need two. And that baby is my child.
Right.
So how important was you to write that? Because there are black men who are into poly relationships and do it right.
Right.
So
That's
how
what
important was that?
I mean, a lot of people was kind of like, I don't like him no more. He wants two. Why can't he have one? But for me, it would be boring to give him one.
Yeah.
Because you have his brothers. They each have one wife, even though Cap could technically have two. But
Mm-hmm.
he has one wife. You got Capri. She has one husband. And I felt like giving him, even though I know I could give him one woman and it would be interesting, I'm like, why not shake it up a little bit? And he
Yeah.
grew up from in 3.5 when he touches on his mom was in a poly relationship. That's where he
Mm-hmm.
got it from. So I felt like it added some dimension to his story. And when his book comes, you'll be able to see like more of who Corleone is, because all we know is he will erase some shit on a camera and he gonna be on his computer. He gonna make sure the Delgados is taken care of. But who really is he besides the man that wants two wives?
Well, the way he set Skylar's old baby daddy by that sperm donor in his place, so smooth.
Right.
So smooth.
And he's an absolute, like, he's smart and he knows his stuff, but he's an absolute menace. But then that's because his best friend is Menace. So
We are going to get on this man because that's the only man in this book that scared the shit out of me, just because of the OCDness and the crazy shit that he something wrong with that man. I don't know exactly what yet, but something. Now you have Kincaid. Kincaid. Okay. At first, I was Team Kincaid. Over the books, I was like, "Fuck this nigga." And it really didn't even have to do with Capri itself. It was the way him and Jazz got together.
move right,
And that move just really irked my ass. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So how is it important? How much is it important to show black men sometimes move on too fast when they know they are still in love with the next.
It's very important because then you move. These men will move on and still be in love, and then you mess up another woman's situation and messing up her heart. And he knew that he still was in love with Jasmine, although he didn't know she moved back. He didn't know
Mm-hmm.
all these things, but he knew that his heart was still with her. So when he seen her, even though he was with Capri, he knew he wanted to be with her. Now, granted, I wrote the book, so I was just when I was reading over, I'm like, girl, leave the hospital, like give them some space, even though I wrote it. But yeah, Jasmine was annoying. But I have
As
a soft spot.
hell.
I have a soft spot for Jasmine. She went through a lot,
Okay,
but
look
she
here.
but she was annoying.
Look here, Jaquel. Jaquel. Jazz could suck a fat baby's dick because this bitch knew. I understand she was going through what she was going through. I sympathize on her pain, but she also used that pain for her advantage to
She
get what she
did. She
wanted.
did.
And then here we go. Shit didn't turn out the way she thought it was gonna turn out.
Right. And he
So,
didn't even. She got him, but then she didn't get him because it was like he kind of learned like you just all second chances don't need a second chance. Like he spun the block and he was kind of like, damn.
yeah, it wasn't what he thought it was.
Right. And then he couldn't really like back out of it because she was pregnant. So it was like, I gotta, stick this out. But it was good him being able to see him and Naeem be able to see Capri actually be loved the right way.
Is she? Is she? I think every woman in the world should be loved like that.
Right.
Loved like that. And if you start now a relationship, find a semi. Find a semi. He ain't even, he's not even in a relationship and he treat her like
He do. But Simi, he a little.
he might be a little touched. Yeah.
And them Infernal boys, they like the Delgado. They got a little. It'd be something wrong with them.
Speaking of, let us talk about Zoya and Goon.
Mister Fuck You Mean.
Fuck you, man. I swear. What is it about? He has this goofy side, but he be so fucking serious at the same time. Why is that important? Because we all know a nigga that's like that.
Exactly. We all like listen. Goon, when I write him, he cracks me up because leave it to him is a serious moment. He's gonna say something that's gonna have you like, now why he say that? And then it's just the way he's been on Zoya. Like he knew the first time she represented him, like, oh, I want her. Like that's Miss Lawyer. Like I'm a jaywalk. I'm gonna do all that I need to do to get me some tickets so I can see her again.
Yeah. And not to mention him telling the damn nigga that he was gonna beat his ass earlier. Now that he became a god pappy,
He
he's
got
like, man,
responsibilities now, so he can't be in there beating ass.
funny as fuck. And then you brought in Havoc.
Yeah, I love Havoc.
I love your visual of Havoc.
He is something.
Woo, Jesus. That this is why I say I have multiple book boyfriends in your series. Because I can't pick one. I'm like Core. I can't pick one. It's just not gonna happen. But now you have stuff coming up where you have whose book is it? It's gonna be Menace book, Seam's
Mm-hmm.
book,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have a crossover with the Zoo Boys.
Yeah.
And you have a collab with you have a it's a collab of a whole bunch of authors and you're gonna be in Monster Inc.
Yep.
God damn, you was a busy woman.
So
And
good.
you had a traditionally published book come out last year.
Yep.
Okay, oh, I missed somebody. Landon. What's up with Amy and Landon?
They not everybody think they're gonna get together. They not gonna get together. She don't see him like Amy is legit in love with Capella. Now, granted, it was a little shaky with his little hand problem, but I didn't want to write him out because of that. Like, I wanted him to have his redemption, And I also wanted his, his uncle and his father and everybody to get in his ass about it, because that's not okay.
Yeah.
But she's not gonna get with Landon. She don't want to be with Landon.
Damn.
Even though it would have been a good, get back. But the reason I didn't give her a get back after Capella did what he did is because I did that with Capri, and they got on her so bad for Kincaid. So I didn't want to complicate the story with her sleeping with a Caselli, and the Casellis and the Delgados, they cool, and everybody already hate Amy. So if she would have did that, it would have been no remorse. I would have had to kill Amy.
But the thing about it is, everybody getting on Capri about sleeping with Kincaid. Half of y'all probably done slept with somebody's boyfriend's father to get back at him for sleeping with somebody. So what the fuck is y'all talking about? Y'all, y'all so messy. Y'all
They
so
got
messy.
her and Capella, they're gonna stay together. They're gonna work on it only because they're the underdogs out of all the marriages. They're the youngest. They're the ones that nobody expects to work. So I really want them to work. And you'll
Yeah.
read in Sim's book, you'll see that they're working it out. Capella, he's doing his own thing now.
Okay, okay. But Aaron's brother, what's his name?
Jaden.
Jaden. Now he went through some shit. He
Mm-hmm.
at a very young age.
Yeah.
He lost his baby mama, the woman he wanted to marry, even though they were young. He lost the baby, and then you kind of hit us over the head with that slip of, oh, girl had just lost the baby.
Mm-hmm.
When is this man gonna get a happily ever after?
Jaden, he got some mess, and I've been working on Jaden's book here and there, so he has a few chapters, but he been in college going through some mess, and he away from Erin, and you know how Erin is a helicopter sister, always in his business. So now he's finally got this freedom
Mm-hmm.
where he's able to, really explore and live his life. And now he's about to go to the league. So that's another added layer of what he's going through. But him and Elliot, they have a lot going on.
Oh, Jesus. I just want to ask, is he gonna get into life?
The life.
The life like with Capo
Oh
and
no, he's gonna stay. Capone would kill him. He's gonna stay in the straight and narrow. It's just he gonna have a lot of drama with it. Not to say that the life is not gonna come after him, because once he make it big, he do have some friends that remember what he was doing. So
yeah, well, that'll do it.
right.
So, how is it with you doing all these books coming out? That's a lot of pressure. You will constantly have people on your neck about when the book come out, when the book coming out. And people always ask you, "Oh, the dates ain't matching up to when you said the book coming up," and blah blah blah. How do you deal with that?
I I don't. It's stressful. But I just kind of like when Capri 3.5 didn't come out the day that it was supposed to come out, I kind of just hide. I go in my little hole. I don't go on social media. I just leave it because it's like, it's nothing I can do at this point. So, but I told myself going into the new year, like I'm not giving dates. I'm just going to drop a book. I don't even think I'm doing, release weeks. I'm just going to drop the book, and
Yeah.
that's going to be it.
My honest opinion. Let me find it real quick. My honest opinion is that we as readers, as hard as we go for our favorite author and we love your series, that we should by now be abreast of Amazon and their tactics.
I thought everybody knew at this point.
And I feel like them coming in your DMs, them saying this off the wall shit. I just want readers to understand these authors are human beings, not fucking robots. And when shit happens, it's usually not their fault. So going into someone's DMs or in their group and testing their fucking gangster is the wrong fucking move. Y'all lucky a bitch like me ain't on no fucking moderator or anything, cause I'll cuss you hoes. Move the fuck out.
And I I've changed a lot because that's how I am. naturally, like I like 2014, 15 Ja is not me today. Like I would be on there like, but I just ignore it. I kind of go ghost. I let it like I knew the book was gonna come eventually. They say 72 hours.
Hmm.
It never takes that long, but sometimes it does. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just, you know.
To me, I think a lot of people are very thirsty for books, not in a bad way, but you
Hmm.
know they're very thirsty to the books. But some of you hoes are delusional, and I need y'all to stop listening to the crying bitch that told y'all it's okay to be delusional. It's okay to be delusional in some ways, but you hoes are literally delusional. Some of y'all, Jesus, get some dick or something. Shit, if you like cat, get that too, cause bruh, oh fuck.
So yeah, I'm just definitely not this year. I'm not giving unless it's something that's up for pre-order, like Menace's up for pre-order, so you know what date he's coming. But if it's like Quasim, it's January. Y'all never know when it's gonna drop. I'm just gonna post the link and
Yeah,
even though I like to get my promo, well, if you see the promo, you know the book came.
yeah.
It's
I
gonna drop the same day.
I look, I love your writing style because it all coincides together. It literally tells a story that makes a movie in my head every time. Every time I read a book. So let me ask you this. If one of your books were made into a movie, who would be your cast as the lead characters?
That's hard. I don't even know
Yeah.
which book I would pick. I mean, I'm gonna go with only because I would love to see shootout scenes be brought to reality. I'm gonna go with any of the Delgado books, but as far as main characters, I don't know who I would pick for the guys. Only because I mean I think one of the ones I don't know his name, but he played in that Tyler Perry movie with Kelly
Javante,
Miller.
bro. You ain't even got I already
Yeah, I would pick him for somebody. I don't know who. One of the
goon.
twins. Goon. He Goons is a good one. For a female, I don't know who I would pick for Capri.
That would be hard.
Right, because you
That would
gotta.
be
I see her in such a different way, so it would be hard to pick anybody.
Somebody said Trevante, Kofi, and Lance Gross.
That would be a good. That would be good.
Mm, I love that. Okay, what is the most surprising or unexpected inspiration for a story you've written?
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. I get inspiration anywhere, so I can't even pick a one moment. Like I could be outside in Marshalls, and I would be like, "Oh, this reminds me of this. Let me add this into it." Which kind of funny because that's why Erin is obsessed with TJ Maxx Marshalls and stuff. So that I guess that would be it. Like literally being in Marshalls and feeling like, all right, no, I'm gonna make my character, and I wanted to make her frugal just because her man got all this money. I wanted to make it where she still shops at these regular stores.
So, explain to me why each book in the Delgado series was split up.
Okay, so when you're traditionally published, you can't kind of compete with yourself. So you
Hmm.
can only have a book that is a certain amount of word count that counts.
Hmm.
So when it came to Cap coming out, I was able to put part one out
Hmm.
full because it was a full book. It wasn't split. But when it came to 2.5, 3.5, I had to kind of split them. So I had to write them into completion, then split it, find a perfect spot in between to split it right down the middle so that it could be 2.5, 3.5.
So, is that going to happen with the next books, or is just going to be one
No,
book?
I'm out of that. I'm way past it now, so I'm good. I'm good for January. I'm good for the new year. So Quasim, he's gonna be full books.
Okay, 4 books.
Full.
Oh, full books. Okay, okay. So, What has been your experience with writing romance in Black love? What has been your experience being an author that delves in Black love?
It's been a good experience. I would say I love when somebody writes me and be like, "Oh my god, I got the feels." Because
Mm,
sometimes I can get, not even sometimes, I'm hood through and through. In real life, I call myself a hood booger. I'm hood. So sometimes when I'm writing romance, I have to kind of, if it's not urban romance, I have to kind of step out of using certain words. Like, all right, I cannot make this man be like, nigga, come here. Like, no, he's supposed to be soft, he's supposed to be gentle as romance. So definitely when somebody tells me like one of my characters gave them the feels, made them
mm.
feel good, was had them swooning, definitely.
So you wrote these women and you put them in their soft girl era because these men gave them safe spaces. How important is to showcase that it's okay to be in your soft girl era if you have a safe space?
It's so important because as somebody who struggles with it, I'm very hard when it comes to like who I am, and then my husband gotta constantly like, you need to chill out, you need to, like, he puts me in my soft girl era a lot because I'm always going. I'm not the oldest, but I am the oldest, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've always had a lot of responsibility where I've had to be, this person is that's always on go taking care of everybody else. So he definitely is one of those that's like, you need to chill out. Like how Cat be telling a lie, like, you need to chill.
Yeah.
That's him.
So what does a good urban romance look like for you?
All right. So definitely an age gap. I'm an age gap whore. I like age gap. I don't know why. I just do. So definitely an age gap. Um Definitely, and I may be biased, but the main character, I would prefer them to be from New York because I could just feel it. But some drama for sure. I want a baby mama or three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe some shootouts. I want some drugs. I want to be up in the trap with them.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah. Oh, and some love. I want him to be an absolute menace in the street, but he's super soft. Like I want him to. She could call him pet names and all of this stuff, but in
Yeah.
the street, he's this hardcore crazy.
So how do you navigate the balance between writing for yourself and writing for your honest audience?
I used to write for my audience. I used to, not put, like, if I would read my reviews and somebody like, she should have did this or she should have did that, I would be like, let me go back and change that. Let me go do this. Like, so I used to write for my audience, but then like I stopped midway through my career and I was like, I'm just gonna write what I'm feeling, and the people that's gonna fuck with it is gonna fuck with it, and if they not, they not. So I definitely stopped
Mm-hmm.
writing for what other people want, because let me tell you, people will tell you, and I get this all the time. Somebody will say, I don't want him to be this, and but I want him to be this. Like, I can't write that. Like, I don't know what you want. So like, I just write what is on my heart and what comes to me, and I just pray that everybody like receives it how I wrote it.
So how do you ensure that your stories resonate with your readers emotionally?
Hmm. Well, they all crazy as hell. So I'm if it's a, they crazy, they unhinged. So if it's all those things,
Yeah.
they gonna eat it up. They love that stuff because they crazy as hell, and I'm crazy. So like, I don't know. We the blind leading the blind over there. So
You said that your favorite thing is age gap, right?
mhm.
So what other romance trope would you write in?
Hmm.
Snap.
I would say Secret Baby, but I've done that.
Yeah.
He falls first, but I've done that. Um, There's not many other ones that I haven't done. So I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this: how's your approach to writing romantic or very sexy ass, knocking the sonic coins as type scenes to ensure that it's authentic and engaging?
Hmm. Funny that you mentioned that. I'm actually writing like within Qasim's book. His book is very, very nasty. And, and so I would say that would definitely be one of those books where you're gonna be like, Jahquel.
That's the type of book I like. That's shit. Make me clutch my pearls. That's the shit I'm talking about. So, what role does these scenes, like the sexual scenes, especially when it comes to black romance and black love, that's good and dandy. I love it. I do. But what's the importance of knocking the sonic coins play in the overall narrative of your books, of your stories?
Say that again. Sorry.
I was saying, what does the role of these sexual scenes play as an overall narrative of the stories? How does it tie in with the story itself?
It ties in because everybody just wants to be fucked. So in the book, you gonna have like in Capone, Erin, she like even Jada said like you need some dick. Like she really needed some. Like she was super intense. Like girl was stressed out. So she really needed some. But with Capadonna, I didn't really, not even really, part one didn't have any sex in it.
Mm,
It was more so because, she was in this polygamous relationship and she was abused so young. So I didn't want to make it unrealistic where going into it. And granted, there are some women that's been in situations like that are hypersexual, but that wasn't her case. And then she was pregnant, so I was like, he's not about to do that when she's pregnant.
yeah,
But it was important to touch on their story and make their, even though people said it wasn't that spicy, it wasn't meant to be spicy.
right.
And what I realized, some of y'all are some freaks, but some of y'all are some freaks. I'll be like, someone's like, I just need them to do this. I'm like, I am writing urban fiction here, not urban erotica. But I listened and I didn't judge. So in Capri's book, Capri was getting it on. She was getting it on more than her brothers. But it was definitely important because you want to, show that side of them. Because obviously, he's out here running the streets. He's doing this. He's being this family person and all of that. But also, is he slinging dick too? Like, is he doing
Yeah.
what he's supposed to be doing too? So it's important to add. I just don't add it every page like some of y'all want.
I mean, look, Jacquel, look. I know. You said you listen, but don't judge. So I'm just saying, you wrote these niggas. Now we want to see them do King Dingaling, Dingaling, Dingaling. So,
I listen, and Capri was getting it every. Mir was turning her every way but loose.
everywhere.
And Qasim is turning Blair every way but loose. So I listen, and I want to say Qasim got more sex in his first book than I want to say the whole Capri series.
Jesus,
So yeah.
Jesus. So how do you handle the power dynamics? Because you have these very alpha men, and how do you handle power dynamics, consent, and emotional depth in the romance and the sexual encounters?
I definitely take my time with that because you have, especially with Alaya, she was, molested and raped and all of that stuff. So I didn't want to go into her story with Cat just coming in overpowering her. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Even though, sometimes we like a man that take control and do what he got to do. But I didn't want that to be their situation because she has trauma especially of revolving around sex. So I definitely didn't want him to come in, controlling that situation, which is why I made them wait until they got married and stuff like, and built the intimacy around, more than just sex.
Mm. So, how do you go about? Let's go to the friend groups. You have Zoya, you have Blair. Hell, Amy is and Skylar are all in that bunch too. Um, how do you show? How important was you to showcase that black women together and stick by them, and also tell the hard truths to their friends when they don't even want to hear it?
So important because Capri in the beginning she ain't had no friends. Them hoes was not her friends. So like she really didn't. And then she had her college friends, and her and Zoya like they weren't close, but they stayed in touch. And then she lost touch with Blair because Blair went through her own thing. So when they reconnected again, I wanted her to have a friend group outside of her sister-in-laws because even though Alaya and Erin loved the hell out of her, and Erin's been 10 toes behind her since she met Capri. I wanted her to have friends outside of that. So bringing Blair back, I don't know, it was just healing. Like Blair is such a girl's girl. She's such a good friend.
Yes.
Zoya, she's that friend she's a girl's girl. She's a friend, but she's going to tell you shit that you don't want to hear. And everybody needs that friend where you be like, all right, ho, calm down. All right. But you know what he's saying is right. It's coming from love, and none of them are jealous of each other. They love each other and they support each other even when they're wrong. So that was definitely important for me to give Capri that friendship and show that she wasn't tainted by them other hoes.
And I feel like you gave Blair a voice and a stabby because she did her stabby thing. But you gave her a voice when it looked like she wasn't being heard because she was in this abusive situation. Ooh, yo, if I ever hate someone, is that nigga. And Blair, and the fact that you, girl, the fact that if I could just, but you gave Blair a voice and you made her feel love when she didn't even have that around her. How important is for us introverted people who or standoffish people because we've been hurt so much that we don't want to accept it? How important was it to show that it's okay to be loved on in the right way?
It was very important because naturally, when you're introverted or you haven't been loved in the right way, you are, like you said, you're standoff, you don't accept it. I wanted Blair to be different because even though she was abused and she went through so much different shit, like you wouldn't, if she didn't tell her story, you wouldn't know that because she's so bubbly, she's so friendly, she's always there. Even in the midst of her own cancer, she shows up. Like she's a friend through and through. So I definitely wanted to showcase that is okay for her to be loved and not be scared of it because the dynamic of her and Qasim is he's scared of it. Like we watched him avoid her for like 6 books. Like he would run away from her. So
Facts.
it's like when they did connect in Italy and they had their moments and in Monaco and stuff like that, you just knew they was gonna be together. Like, okay, we're gonna go straight into their book and they're gonna be together. But it was reality is he's scared. He's experienced hurt not once but twice. He lost his family. So in his head he's thinking like I can lose her. She has cancer. Like this is, so it's definitely different, but Blair is more on the receiving end of she wants to be loved. She admitted she's in love with him. She wants to love him.
So, how do you avoid cliches and stereotypes in romance and sexual storytelling?
I just tried to avoid all. It's not even the cliches for me. I just will read it back and like I hope this don't sound corny. Like I just don't be wanting it to sound corny. So I'll read it back like, should I keep this? Should I keep that? Like I debated for a minute if I was gonna keep the big pie in there. I was like, is this corny? But then I just felt like it was more so of him being funny and it just took on a world of his own and everybody liked the name.
So let's do a hypothetical. If you could go on a date with any character in your book, who would it be? and why?
Hmm. I'm gonna go with any character or like just the
Any
devil out.
any
Any
character,
character.
and why?
I'm gonna have to go with Laurent Wilshire
Mm.
from my Lenox Hills. He's a billionaire. Why wouldn't I want to go on a date with him?
Well,
And
that's
I don't gotta worry about getting shot at. I don't gotta worry about ducking in the car. Like we just getting on our jet, we living carefree. I would say menace, but he might kick me out and accuse me of fucking dogs and all that stuff with the
I'm
way I be squeezing my toothpaste.
I'm hollering. What the fuck? Ah. Okay, so you have your Christmas novel.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Target. It's in bookstores. How does that feel?
The real going into first of all, I'm in Target, like I work there anyway. So so just going down that aisle and just seeing my book, it felt surreal to see something that I worked so hard on and just seeing it just sitting on the shelf of a store
Mhm.
that I'd be frequenting anyway.
Yeah. So how does it feel to just reap the benefits of everything that you have put down for so long, and it's just blowing up?
Ugh, I'm still speechless because it's like I celebrated last year, April, 10 years is year 10 of me being an author. And I always tell new authors when they be like, you're this. And I'm like, not everybody has read my stuff. Like, you
Hmm.
have to, like, there's a whole bunch of people that are new to my books, and I've been writing for 10 years.
Hmm.
So, it feels surreal when I see somebody like, I just discovered your catalog and I'm just reading through it. And I'm just like, buckle up, baby, because you're going to want to cuss me out when you're done.
I told you, shit. If I didn't feel like it would have been uncalled for, I would have made a 30-minute review on them damn books. So I was flabber to the gasket. Um, so then you have this collab with the Zoop Waves, which is another amazing series. As
Mhm.
someone who is into the bike world, like myself, to see bike books, especially black
Mhm.
bike books, means a lot. And you not only incorporated the men, but you have the women,
Mhm.
which is that's all I've been asking for. That's
Right.
all I've been asking for. Why is it important to showcase Black MC culture?
Because we don't see it. We don't. I don't read about it much. I don't see a lot of. And I'm not saying it's not out there, but it's not as common. You don't really see about it. And for me, I grew up in New York, so in the summertime, you see the bikes coming down, the parkway. You like, this is what you see. And it's like for me, I was just like, I need to write about this. Like, I want to write about motorcycles. And for me, when I see a woman on a bike, I get so damn excited. I'm like, yes, let's go. I love seeing women on bikes. So it definitely was something where I was like, as much as I want to develop the Inferno guys, but they need women. Like the world don't run without women. So definitely gonna add some goddesses in there.
So now, don't be shocked. I'm telling y'all, think I'm playing when I say I'm gonna get that on this arm. Y'all think I'm playing, but I digress. But why was it important to connect the two stories?
I wanted to do two at first when I wrote Capone, which is why I said I never stick to my damn outline. Capone was supposed to be a mafia book, but it took on a whole nother world of its own, and I just was going with it. But when it came to developing Cap, I knew I wanted him to have something different than his brother. I wanted him to be into bikes and stuff like that. But I also wanted the stories to be deeper than that. I didn't want it to just be like, oh, that's Kwasim. He grew up with him, or he know him from back in the day. I wanted their families to be back in the day, like they are connected through family.
Mm.
So definitely, when I wrote it, I was like, I can add Quamir in here, and he's gonna be with Capri, but let's make it more than that. Like, let's add Papa Inferno and Dez. They know each other from back in the day.
Yeah. So you have the Steel Sisters thrown in the mix as well. So
Yes.
are is the will the Steel Sisters get books?
They are gonna get books.
Oh shit.
They are going. They You'll read about them like how I did with Quasim Kwamir. They'll be in the books that are to come, so you can get
Mhm.
familiar. But they're gonna have their own book because you have Bia. She's this head of this biker gang that she had to take over because her father was murdered. So
Yeah.
comes with her leading a bunch of men and women, and men how they get when women is sometime in charge, and
Mm.
her finding love too.
Mm. I'm gonna need you to shop around this movie deal, because I need to see all this. So, how do you like from your first romance novel to now? How do you? Oh,
My damn phone. Oh, what's the name? Sorry.
from your first romance novel till now, how do you rate your writing now?
um, why do you have to ask me this? I'm
I,
so hard on myself.
And look, let me tell you something. That should be pop. These questions popping in my head. I don't write. I can't. It just as we go along. I'm just. I'm looking at you. I'm like, I wonder. So that's.
I will. I rate it better because when I go back and when I go read my older work, I cringe. I'm like,
Why?
I don't know why. I guess it's because I've grown in my writing, so it's kind of like going back. But it's like I won't change it or like what's the name because I feel like that it shows my journey. And somebody had wrote me a little while ago, and she was like, I started at the beginning of your catalog up into
Mm,
now, and she's like, it took me on a ride of seeing how your writing has changed throughout the years.
mm,
And when I do read my older stuff, or I'll go back and I'll be researching something that I need, I'm like, my writing really has grown. And that's
mm.
all you ever want as an author is for your writing to grow.
So, do you prefer to write slow burns, love at first sight, or something in between?
I would say slow burn. I like a slow burn because my first in the series, my first book is always gonna be the slow burn. What I consider a slow burn. So I'm gonna go with I like a slow burn, and I definitely like a love at first sight. Like I like when he see her
Mm,
like, oh, that's my wife, and he don't even know her
yeah.
damn name.
Yeah, I love that too. I just I don't know. It's just like I fell in love with your characters because they fell in love.
Right.
I don't even. That's the best way I can explain it. I fell in love with your characters because they fell in love, and it's the dynamic of how they fell in love. Whether it was crazy, stalkerish, or just beating everybody ass until you realize, oh yeah, I love him.
Right.
Type deal. It's just the idea of a black man loving a black woman wholeheartedly.
It just gets like it gives you the feels. It makes you feel like giddy. Like that's how like sometimes like I will sit in my office and my husband will be because his loft is right next to my office, and I'll be like, and he'll be like, there she go, because it's just like you just get that feeling like sometimes.
Yeah, that the love in those books is just like I said with the woman's work thing. It was just that love that Mir and Capri had, and how he just thought she was the most beautiful angelic thing in the world, and her giving him this child just broke this strong man down to it just his heart just expanded.
Right.
I love that. So
Exactly.
so how do you keep your writing on that level?
I don't know. I just write from experience because I'm loved that way. So it's easy for me to write it, and I want everybody to be loved that way. So when I
Yeah.
write it, it's just it comes naturally. Like I don't have to, map it out or pin it out or nothing like that because I just go off of how I'm loved in real life. So when I'm writing a character and the guy is just loving his woman, like I just go off of my own marriage and my own relationships and stuff like that.
Mm, oh my God, lady, you the you cuz it's just like now that you see and read this, I can understand how people are feral because your writing is so addictive. But at the same time, some of you bitches need a kid a clue. But what advice would you give an inspiring romance author, urban fiction author trying to break into indie and the traditional world?
Um, as far as indie, keep your head down, mind your business, just release your book. Don't compare. Compare is the thief of joy.
Mm,
Um, just do your thing, because I know a lot of authors come into the industry and they see others doing this, so they try to do the same thing, or they feel discouraged because this person, book is number one, or they got all these readers, but they're comparing. You're just 2 months into this person is 3, 4, 5 years. So I always say, don't compare yourself. Just write your books, mind your business, stay in your lane. And then when it comes to traditional, I would say it's not easy,
mm,
and you have to be prepared to not to give up a lot of control. You're not sometimes going to be often in control of what you would normally write as indie, like in when it comes to covers or storylines and stuff like that. So it's definitely not something that's easy.
mm,
Especially if you're a control freak and somebody who likes to have control over what they're doing.
mm. So how do you maintain boundaries with your readers?
Oh, I'll go ghost. I'll go ghost. I used to. I didn't have boundaries when I first started, so I would have a lot of people, come to me and just say the most outlandish shit to me. Like, it's kind of like, "Hello, I'm the author. Hi."
Mm,
But now I've trained myself not like I will read my DMs if I can. They give me anxiety, so whenever I do go in there is when I'm like calm, cool, or whatever. But I definitely, if I feel overwhelmed, I take that break away. I don't stay on social media,
yeah.
and especially if my husband, if he sees that I'm getting like that, like he shuts it down. Like he will shut it
Yeah.
down. So definitely.
So you have audiobook projects coming up. Which books are getting audios?
So Cap is getting an audio.
Hmm.
It should be coming out of it now, and I Capone 3 is supposed to be coming. I'm waiting on the date. And then Capri.
So how do you pick your narrators? How do you pick ones that you just like, okay, this will be the perfect person for this voice?
Well, according to people with Capone's audio, they didn't like the Aaron, but um I will. They send you different ones that you want to work with, or ask you who you want to work with. So I pick from what they offer you and who's available. But for Capri, I definitely asked, the people in my group, like, hey, who's your favorites? Like, who do you like to listen to? And I took recommendations from them, and I was able to get some big names.
Hmm.
So definitely will let you guys know who soon.
I can't wait. I don't like audiobooks, but because I love this series so much, I am going to critique the fuck out of you narrators. I'm just being honest. Yeah, speaking of that, 40. That's my guy. It ain't even a book bait for me. It's just the way he came. Yeah. What's up with 40?
40 is he's gonna get a book, even though everybody was trying to make him disloyal, like, oh, he's gonna go against the dog. I'm like, 40 is he's 10 toes down.
He is an infernal god.
Right. Like, he is 10 toes down. So he's not about to do anything. And Cap, that's his best friend, damn near brother. But 40 gets a book. He's getting, it's not gonna be a series or nothing like that, but just something so you guys could, see what he got going on. And his forbidden fruit, because everybody keeps trying to figure out who his forbidden fruit is, but y'all don't know her. But yeah, he gets a book, and you learn more about 40 and his brother, because not 40's been in all the books, but we don't know nothing about him. I don't know nothing about him. Other than he's a DEA agent, you don't know his home life or anything. And I just found out he got a brother. So
I was about to ask, are we gonna get the governor?
yes, the governor has a book coming too.
Ooh, Jesus, you're gonna be busy, busy.
So
My
busy.
God. Okay, so you have that. Then you have Monster Inc. Now, does this cartel series line up with the books that you have coming out?
It doesn't.
So this is a new
But
cartel.
it's new. But they were mentioned within the Delgado series. It was mentioned in, I want to say, Capri 2.5. I want to say the Amante cartel. They were mentioned.
Oh,
Yeah, so
are they crazy?
they are. They are. They are.
How many is it?
There's three
Brothers, sisters, what?
brothers.
Oh God. Oh God. I'm just saying. Ooh, Jesus. You when you write crazy, you write crazy.
Yeah, and Amante, they batshit crazy too. They like super crazy.
Oh no, they worse than the Delgados?
Um,
Or are they like menace?
they like menace.
Oh Jesus! I don't know how to feel about that. Oh
Because Menace is he. We don't know too much about Menace other than he's fucking crazy. But like Menace is an absolute menace, and people call him Menace for a reason. So
oh no, Jesus got me over here sweating. Oh my God. So where do you go from there? Here with all this, what's next for you? Besides these projects, what's next for you?
well, I'm gonna be outside next year. Well, next year we in this year.
I'm about to say, huh?
I keep forgetting we in January. The year went by. Last year went by so damn fast.
It did.
But I'm definitely gonna be at a few book events besides writing and
Mm-hmm.
releasing. So I'm definitely gonna be doing that. I'm gonna take some time. I'm gonna take the summer off this summer
Mm-hmm.
and maybe do some traveling, spend time with my team and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna be up to.
So what events can we see you at?
I'm going to be at the Bulls Books and Boots and Blings in Mesquite. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
Mesquite.
Texas.
And then in April, that's in March. April, I'm gonna be in Miami at the Urban Book Expo in
Yes.
Miami. And what are we at? April? May, I'm gonna be at the Black Romance Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And June, July, oh, in September, I'm gonna be in Milwaukee at the Romance, I think it's Book Fest. And then in September, I'm gonna be in Chicago. And then October, Southern Hearts.
What happened? Oh yeah. You're gonna be at Jessica Watkins.
Yep.
You know what's not on that list? The Boozy Book Tour.
I need to, but yeah, the dates, I might explain February because the dates I was looking at is I have like two things right on like near it. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, I
So
don't
do
want
you want to go to Tulsa?
when is that?
February 21st through the 22nd.
Of this month, of next month?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's so soon.
Or you could do October, Chicago.
That's true, but I'm gonna be in Chicago September 28th.
Or you can do Raleigh, which is May, early May.
I may have to do my Riley. Send me the link.
All right. I'll send you the links to all the cities we got. Because we even got 2026 out. We got Las Vegas, Denver, and Seattle.
Somebody just asked me about Vegas too.
Yeah, we got February 2026 is Las Vegas. Denver, well, Denver, no, because that's just interracial romance, black interracial romance
Hmm.
authors. But Seattle, Washington, that's everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that for 2026.
The way this year gonna fly, we gonna be in 2026 before we know it.
I know, because this year just went by so fucking quick. So
Hmm.
tell me what is the advice that you would give anybody who's afraid to write, who is afraid to come into the urban fiction genre, the street lit genre, the romance genre, tell me the advice you would give them in regards to moving forward.
I would just say, right, just do it. I mean, there's a lot of things that you're gonna do in life that you're gonna be scared to do. So it's like, do something for you. And 9 times out of 10, when an author starts writing, they doing it for them because this is something that they want to do. So granted, it'll grow from that to you having an actual career and all of that stuff. But do something, even if you never put it out, just do it. But most of the part is don't be scared. Like I said, have tunnel vision, because sometimes when we're in that mode of self-doubt, you look at other people, you looking at other things, and that will literally trick you into not wanting to do it. So definitely have tunnel vision when you working on your project and focus on you and do it.
Facts. So what is your advice to a narrator who is interested in trying to be a narrator that's on any of your projects?
Just submit, like reach out. Like I'm always looking for somebody different. I ended up mentioning one of the narrators for Capri's book. We follow each other on here, and I had put his name down as one of the ones that I wanted to work with because I had never seen him do any other project. But I'm like, his voice is good.
Mm-hmm.
And when he sent back the kind of the audition tape for the for Mir, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he got it. So definitely just don't be scared to reach out. And I wouldn't have never discovered him if he didn't follow me.
Mm. Mm. All right. Um, so last but not least, I just want to say I appreciate you taking the chance coming on to my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I admire you and your dedication to your craft.
Thank you.
Um, you really brought me into your story because me myself, as a reader and reviewer, I have a problem when people hype up books and then I read it and I'm disappointed. I was not disappointed, not no chance in that whole fucking series. I'm not saying
That
that
makes me happy. That makes me happy.
I'm very honest, and I can tell you from jump I love Capri. From jump I love Capri, regardless of the shit that she was had going on. I love Capri because we see Capri in ourselves.
Right.
Some of you bitches once again are delusional. Um, and I loved how you made these black men vulnerable. I love that. You made them
Right.
hard, vulnerable, and able to be loved.
Right.
So I love your writing style.
Thank
I
you.
I love the topics you brought up that were in the black community. A lot of people don't talk about sickle cell.
Right.
A lot of times when they talk about cancer, it's never with the struggle from a black woman's point of view from a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that you talked about the Muslim religion. I love how you talked about abuse and
Mm-hmm.
the secrets within the black family.
Right.
Because what Amy went through with her family,
Mm-hmm.
the mother hated her for just telling the truth.
Right.
You know, so
It's so
I love how you said men can be jealous of women in a relationship when they level up.
mm-hmm.
So I love all that. And then like I said, as someone who's in the bike community, seeing the bike community like that brings me joy. It brings me joy. I hope you write more and more and more about the bike community. And also, I just want to say, from a black woman to a black woman, sister, keep your head up.
Thank you.
Don't let these damn crazy ass reasons make you feel any type of way. And if you need to take a break, take a break. And somebody did say Down syndrome. And I love the fact that you showcase how hard it is for a mother dealing with a child with a disability is, while trying to maintain her own self.
Right.
So I just want to say bravo.
Thank you so much.
Bravo fucking bravo. I look forward to seeing you because I'm gonna be in Chicago. I might be
Perfect.
because I live in Chicago, so I'll be at the Jessica Watkins things, but I
Okay.
might be in Miami. I
Okay.
will be in Texas, but I won't be at the book signing, but I'll be at the rodeo.
Oh, okay.
But I am going to get all your books. I'm gonna get,
Buckle up. Buckle up.
I'm gonna get all them. But I'm gonna let you go. But thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you reaching out and wanting me on here. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And everybody, if you're looking for the Boozy Book Tour, all you got to do is go in my link in my bio. We have a plethora of cities. Hope you come because it's an event.
Definitely send me the link.
I
Definitely
will.
the dates and
All
stuff.
right. Y'all have a good night.